The prince searched the entire city for the girl who lost a crystal shoe. My stepsister stole my shoe, falsely claiming that she was the one who danced with the prince last night. She didn't know that the prince killed someone that night. And I am the only witness. Chapter 1. Sister, please, give me back the shoe. I hugged Anna, my older stepsister's leg, begging desperately. Anna grabbed my hair, spat on my face, and said, "You lowly thing, how dare you fantasize about the noble prince, go back to the cellar where you belong." My stepmother and stepsister grabbed my arms, pushing me into the cellar. I struggled, trying to grab the crystal shoe. "It can't be taken out, really can't be taken out. A few days ago, I was transported into a shattered fairy tale and became Cinderella. I used to think, how bad could a fairy tale world of truth and goodness be? Until I saw the prince cut open the chancellor's belly with a sword that night, after killing him. He calmly stood there, admiring the chancellor's intestines under the moonlight. Ha, so beautiful. The bright red intestines dripped blood, his eyes gleaming with a sinister, bloodthirsty light. I hid in the bushes, covering my mouth, trembling uncontrollably with fear. Perhaps I trembled too violently. The prince suddenly turned to look in my direction, his gaze sharp as an eagle. "Who's there? Come out." I gasped, lifted my skirt, and ran. The prince followed with his sword. The palace was magnificent, expensive crystal chandeliers hanging on the pillars, illuminating everything. The prince chuckled behind me. "Oh, so you're the beautiful girl who danced with me tonight." His tone was ominous. I turned to look. The prince's face was fierce, his sword still dripping blood, leaving a trail behind. I was terrified, running as fast as I could. But the white jade staircase at the palace gate was too long, and despite being careful, I still lost a crystal shoe. I knew he wouldn't let me go. Indeed, the next day, the chancellor's obituary spread throughout the country, angering the king, who ordered the guards to capture the real culprit. Along with the obituary, a message about the prince searching for love also spread throughout the country. The prince fell in love with a beautiful girl at the ball and announced that whoever could wear the girl's lost crystal shoe would be the next queen. All the women in the city went crazy. Early in the morning, my stepsisters began dressing up, soaking their feet in milk, praying for this lucky glory to shine on them. Until my stepsister came to my room to find jewelry and accidentally found the other crystal shoe. Chapter 2. You lowly thing, how dare you go to the ball without telling us, so eager for men, tomorrow you'll be paired with a stable boy. My stepmother grabbed my hair, slapped me hard a few times. My stepsister held the crystal shoe close, kicked me hard in the stomach, and pushed me down into the cellar. Elder stepsister chuckled softly. "If you want to be the queen, at least take a look in the mirror. Stay here quietly. If you dare make a sound, you're done for." With a loud clang, the cellar door was locked. I pounded on the door above me, my face filled with despair. This was it. If that shoe was taken out, the prince would surely know I was here, and he would kill me. Soon enough, I heard the obsequious voice of my stepmother from above. "Oh my, Lord Rod, why have you come in person? No need to try, this shoe belongs to our Anna. Anna, show Lord Rod the other shoe." Lord Rod, with a stern face, held a fine swan velvet cushion in his hands, on which sat a sparkling crystal shoe. "Everyone must try on the shoe. Ah, indeed, they make a pair. Noble lady, please come back to the palace with me and let the prince see for himself." Other maids and guards congratulated them, Anna excitedly twirling around with my stepsister. Soon, the noisy footsteps gradually faded away, and the cellar became quiet again. I slumped on the ground, my face full of despair. My stepsister's feet were bigger than mine. Once in the palace, when the prince found she couldn't wear the shoe, he would come to my house soon. I had to escape before that. But the cellar door was locked, with no windows around. I couldn't escape. There were many tools in the cellar. I found a hammer, and after digging at the wall for a while, an hour passed before I managed to chip off a thin layer. Sweating profusely, I furiously hammered the wall a few times and dropped the hammer on the ground. A mouse in the corner was startled, squeaking and scurrying to the other side. Watching the mouse, a spark lit up in my mind, and I suddenly had an idea. Chapter 3. In my memory, Cinderella was always abused by her stepmother, doing chores. Whenever the workload was too heavy, she would sing, and then many birds and animals would come to help her. This was a Disney princess's innate skill. Now that I had become Cinderella, did I also have this ability? I cleared my throat. Oh, 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 oh. Ah, 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 ah. No response. Was I doing it wrong? I continued singing. Yee 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 yee. Woo 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 woo. I sang repeatedly for half an hour, my throat dry, but I didn't give up. Finally, the mouse came back out of the corner. I was thrilled, squatting down to look at it. Are you here to help me? The mouse squeaked, twitched its limbs, and fell to the ground. I blinked, speechless. I sat on the ground, hugging my knees, feeling lost. As the chaotic footsteps echoed above me once again, along with the sharp voice of my stepmother. Oh my, Your Highness, the prince, you've come in person, oh my. Through the cracks in the wooden floor, I looked up to see the prince still holding the same sword from last night, smiling as he gestured for the attendant to press my older stepsister onto a chair. Lovely Lady Anna, is this crystal shoe yours? My stepsister blushed, shyly nodding. The attendant tried to fit the shoe onto my stepsister's foot, but her foot was too wide, and it wouldn't go in. My stepsister panicked. I'm a bit swollen today. Is that so? But only by wearing the shoe can you become my queen. The prince's expression was cold, and upon hearing this, my stepsister desperately squeezed her foot into the shoe, turning her foot red. The prince gave a cold laugh and raised his sword. Let me help you. The prince's hand moved swiftly, cutting off half of my stepsister's heel. She screamed in agony, clutching her leg as she fell to the ground. Chapter 4. Everyone was horrified, but the prince remained calm, continuing to look calmly at my other stepsister. Lovely lady, is this shoe yours? My stepsister's face turned pale, but unable to suppress the impulse to become the queen, she gritted her teeth and nodded. This time, the prince cut off her Achilles tendon. Blood sprayed everywhere, dripping down through the cracks in the wooden floor. I was terrified, looking around, unable to find a place to hide, spinning in a panic. My stepmother screamed and went to embrace her two daughters, while the prince held his sword against her neck. Do you have any other daughters at home? My stepmother's lips trembled. No, no more. Even though both sisters had suffered severe injuries, they persisted, insisting that there were no other people at home. The unwavering determination of the mother and daughters not to see me become the queen took me by surprise. I thank you. What about the young maidservant, is there no one else? My stepmother continued to shake her head. The prince smiled, sitting down, wiping his sword with a clean cloth. Well, that is very interesting. With a wave of his hand, his attendants dispersed, searching everywhere in the house. Soon, Rod ran to the prince's side. Your Highness, the cellar door is locked. The prince looked at my stepmother. This is your last chance to live. Open the door. The prince's sharp eyes and tense jawline clearly showed that his patience had reached its limit. Seeing my stepmother standing still, Rod drew his sword. Kill them, go and break down the door. Only then did my stepmother react, screaming and crawling towards the cellar door. I'll open it, please don't kill me. The sound of keys and chains clashing echoed as the cellar door was forcefully pulled open, a beam of light slanting into the cellar. In the dust-filled shaft of light, the prince stood before me with a wicked smile. Ha, found you. Chapter 5. The next moment, the prince's smile froze on his face. My face covered in ash, eyes wide, I gritted my teeth and asked him, Bro, who are you looking for? The prince took a disgusted step back. Who are you? I'm the maid Cinderella. You sure are handsome, hee hee hee. I reached out to touch the prince's face, his brows furrowed, swatting my hand away. Bring her up, he ordered coldly. 2 guards jumped down into the cellar, lifting me up. Thanks to my stepmother's abuse, I was dressed in patched old clothes, straw in my hair, and a few bright red handprints on my face, fitting the image of a maid. Lord Rod looked disappointed. Your Highness, this girl is probably not the one. Just as I breathed a sigh of relief, I heard the prince coldly command. Have her put on the shoe. Damn it, how could he doubt me like this, the basic trust and respect between people? I was pressed onto a chair by several guards, Lord Rod kneeling with the crystal shoe. Just as he lifted my long skirt, Lord Rod recoiled in disgust. My feet were dark, covered in dirt, my toes spread out forcefully, resembling sea anemones. The prince sneered. What's wrong with your foot? I smiled ingratiatingly. My toes are deformed, they've been like this since I was a child. Is that so? The prince paused for a moment, then suddenly reached out and twisted my calf harshly. Ah! I screamed in pain, my toes curling instinctively due to the pain. The prince chuckled. See, all better now. Thank you, you're quite kind. Tears welled up in my eyes as I watched Lord Rod force my foot into the crystal shoe. Chapter 6. The result, of course, was quite fitting. Not too big, not too small, just right. The crystal shoe fit snugly on my dark foot, as if it were tailor-made for me. Lord Rod glanced awkwardly at the prince. Your Highness, are you sure this girl is the one you're looking for? The 2 stepsisters, who had been rolling on the ground holding their legs, rushed over upon seeing this, both exclaiming in unison. It must be a mistake, she didn't leave the house last night. Even my stepmother nodded in agreement. Yes, this is our maid. She was locked in the cellar by me last night and didn't attend the ball. Your Highness, she couldn't possibly be the girl you're looking for, my stepmother said firmly, staring back at the prince. The prince stared back at my stepmother for a moment before smiling. A liar must swallow 1,000 needles. Rod, bring out that box of needles. Who carries boxes of needles around with them? Watching Rod shove a silver needle of varying lengths into my stepmother's mouth, I felt my legs go weak. Amid the wails of the 3 women, I was escorted onto a carriage by the guards. As the wheels turned, 2 guards kept a close eye on me, and I couldn't find any opportunity to escape. Soon enough, the grand palace loomed before us. My dear Henry, have you found the girl you love? The Queen warmly greeted us. Upon seeing my disheveled appearance, the Queen paused, a hint of fear flashing in her eyes. Who is this? Take her downstairs and have her cleaned up, the prince commanded, seemingly oblivious to the Queen. She circled around the prince, asking him about his journey incessantly. The prince coldly waved her off, turning to Rod. Clean her up and bring her to me. Chapter 7. This prince was truly strange. Upon being led into the palace by a maid, I realized that not only was the prince odd, but the palace itself exuded an eerie atmosphere. Yesterday, I had only been to the luxurious banquet hall, but today as I ventured deeper into the palace, I noticed the towering walls covered in vines, colorful stained glass windows with spiderweb-like cracks. Despite the bustling maids, the entire palace still emitted an air of antiquity and decay. After the maid helped me bathe and change clothes, I was escorted to the prince's bedchamber. A few people hesitated at the door, not daring to enter. One elderly maid handed me a key. The 6th room on the left is your bedroom, you're not allowed anywhere else. Glancing up, I saw the long, dark corridor with rooms on both sides, each door locked. The corridor ceiling was adorned with vibrant murals, and exquisite crystal chandeliers hung overhead. As I took the key, about to ask more questions, one maid suddenly pushed me, causing me to fall in the corridor, turning back in confusion. The maids all seemed relieved, their bodies half hidden in the shadows, their smiles a mix of relief, fear, and anticipation. The heavy wooden door slowly closed, cutting off their smiling faces from the outside. I rushed to the door, knocking. "What are you doing? Let me out." No matter how hard I knocked, there was no response from outside. Standing alone in the dim corridor, the crystal chandelier above fragmented my shadow into multiple pieces, casting strange shadows all around. Feeling uneasy, I clenched the key and approached the door of the 6th room on the left. With a click, the key turned, and as I pushed the door open, most of the fear in my heart dissipated. This is a luxurious bedroom, covered in expensive Persian carpets. Against the wall stood a magnificent bed, facing the door, with a few narrow windows on the side. The windows, painted with colorful glass, were too narrow to escape through sideways. Now that it wasn't dark outside yet, the golden light shining through the glass windows added a warm feeling to the room. Lost in thought by the window, I suddenly heard a low, deep sound of footsteps outside. My heart skipped a beat, the prince was coming. Scanning around quickly, I rushed to the bed, lifting the canopy draping to the floor, ready to crawl underneath. However, under the bed, a pair of eyes gleaming with green light were fixed on me. Chapter 8. Ah! I screamed in fright, taking several steps back. At the same time, a shiny black cat leaped out from under the bed, arching its back, growling at me. I stepped back, only to find the prince behind me. He placed a hand on my shoulder, beckoning the black cat over. "Black Wolf, come here." The black cat hopped onto my shoulder, its green eyes glowing eerily. The prince leaned in, his warm breath brushing my neck, sending shivers down my spine. "You saw everything, I feigned a puzzled expression. "Saw what?" The prince observed me with narrowed eyes. "Why did you run last night?" I put on a look of embarrassment, turning my head away. "My stepmother checks the rooms every night before midnight, locks the doors. If she finds out I'm not home, I'm dead. Your Highness, please let me go back. My stepsister said if I admit to being the one who danced with you last night, she'll kill me. So afraid of her." The prince gripped my shoulders, his deep eyes staring at me meaningfully. "Don't worry, as my queen, you won't have to fear anyone." "Queen?" I stared at him in disbelief. What did he mean, suddenly trusting me, not killing me, and wanting to marry me? Or was this just an excuse to keep me trapped in the palace? "Rest well, we'll have the wedding in a month." The prince patted my shoulder and left with the black cat. As the door closed, I breathed a sigh of relief, lying down on the bed. Suddenly feeling something sticky on my back, I turned to see several fresh red cat paw prints on the sheets and the luxurious Persian carpet, along with a viscous liquid that resembled spilled jam, unsure where the cat had smeared it from. Chapter 9. I tossed and turned all night, hardly getting any sleep. The next day, the maids, as if nothing had happened, helped me get ready and took me to the garden for breakfast. The queen sat under the lush wisteria pergola, waiting for me. "Is your name Cinder? I heard Henry successfully proposed to you last night, congratulations to both of you." The queen teased, planning out the wedding details with me. The flowers, the color of ribbons to decorate the banquet hall, the main course, and the guests to invite. "Oh, these trivial matters are such a headache, I'm not good at this. Let the Lord Chancellor handle it," I said, surprised. "Isn't the Lord Chancellor dead?" The queen paused, holding her teacup, her face showing confusion and bewilderment. "Dead? How could the Lord Chancellor be dead? I always feel like someone dies, and someone is constantly being reborn. Life goes on, unchanging. So boring, so boring." She suddenly went into a fit of madness, laughing hysterically at first, then covering her head and screaming. The maids were unfazed, coming over to escort her away. Struggling, the queen clung to the table, shouting at me. "Run, run." The lace tablecloth was pulled to the floor, tea and snacks scattered everywhere. The queen cried and laughed. It's all fake, all fake. Mother, you should take your medicine. The prince said, rushing over with his sword at his waist, his gaze icy. The queen immediately stopped struggling. Oh, right, I should take my medicine. The maids let go of her, and the queen left quietly behind the maids. Scared? What did she tell you? The prince asked, holding my hand affectionately. I managed a faint smile. The queen was discussing wedding details with me. Well, choose what you like. Come, I'll take you horseback riding. Chapter 10. The prince took me to the outskirts, sometimes holding my hand, sometimes riding together on a horse, behaving intimately. I reciprocated, occasionally showing a shy expression. It wasn't just an act, the prince was really handsome. Tall and broad-shouldered, with long legs, his features weren't typically European or American, but more mixed race, somewhat resembling my favorite model, Xian from the fashion magazines. After spending a few pleasant days together, the prince's attitude towards me improved. He allowed me to roam freely in the palace, opening the locked doors and letting me explore with the maids. Rooms were filled with expensive antiques and decorations, but after a while, I found myself yawning, feeling uninterested. The prince put his arm around my waist. Cinder, you don't like these things? I shook my head. What's so interesting about these? It's too stuffy in the palace, I prefer to go horseback riding in the countryside. The prince patted my head. With the Lord Chancellor gone and affairs busier, I can't take you out to play often. You can wander around the palace by yourself. You can enter all the rooms except the first one on the left. The prince appeared nonchalant but carefully observed my reaction. I smiled and took his hand, leading him outside. I'm not interested in any of those rooms. Let's go, accompany me to the garden. We sat under the wisteria pergola for a while, and then the prince hurriedly left. I lowered my head to drink tea when suddenly a stone hit my back. Turning to look at the bushes behind me, with roses in full bloom, a corner of a bright yellow skirt was visible. That was the color the queen often wore. Without showing any sign, I put down my teacup. I'm hungry. Can someone go to the kitchen and bring me a freshly baked lemon cake? Oh, and another cup of coffee, I don't like tea. After dismissing the two maids, I casually dropped the spoon near the bushes and crouched down as if picking it up. Chapter 11. A pale hand emerged from the bushes, palm up, revealing an antique key. The queen whispered. The first room on the left holds all the truth and secrets. I picked up the key, and the queen grabbed my hand, her long nails digging into the back of my hand. Don't trust Henry. Don't love him. The bushes obscured the queen's figure, and as I was about to speak, hurried footsteps and the maid's exclamations were heard. Queen, why did you come here? Come back with me. The prince will be angry if he sees you here. Let's go. The queen was led away by one of the maids, while two others stayed behind. They began whispering to each other, thinking no one was around. The queen's condition is getting worse. Yes, last time she went mad, took a knife and tried to stab the Lord Chancellor in front of so many guests. If the prince hadn't taken him away, who knows what might have happened. The Lord Chancellor is really unlucky. Such a good person. Fortunately, the wound wasn't too deep. We haven't seen the Lord Chancellor for a while. He's probably afraid of the Queen's recurring illness and dare not come to the palace. The more I listened, the more confused I became. Wasn't the Lord Chancellor dead? I saw the prince kill him with my own eyes, and the king even issued a death notice. How come these maids were saying the Lord Chancellor was fine? As the maids walked away, I sat on the chair, pondering, feeling everything was becoming more and more mysterious, unsure whom to trust. I tightly held on to the key. Regardless, I decided to go and see the room the queen mentioned, to discover what she meant by the truth. Chapter 12. Night fell, and I lay on the bed with my eyes closed. The maids tucked me in before quietly leaving. After she left, I quietly rolled off the bed and stood by the window, gazing outside for a long time. The colorful glass reflected the flickering candlelight, and the lights in various palaces gradually went out, shrouding the entire palace in darkness. It was about time. I picked up the oil lamp, barefoot, and walked through the long corridor. Before opening that room's door, I mentally prepared myself for the worst. Considering the prince's terrifying nature, I wouldn't be surprised even if I saw a dead body. However, what I saw exceeded my imagination, sending chills down my spine and leaving me breathless. My hands trembled violently, almost unable to hold the oil lamp. The room was filled with me, or rather, Cinderella, Cinder. There were multiple versions of me, wearing luxurious palace gowns, horse-riding attire, maid uniforms, countless replicas of me suspended in the room. Their feet dangling in the air, lined up like neatly arranged sausages. These bodies seemed specially treated, hanging in the room, appearing unusually tall, with limbs a size larger than mine. I approached the nearest body. She stared back at me with wide eyes, long curly eyelashes, a high nose bridge, and skin still rosy and elastic, as if she were still alive. Trembling, I reached out to touch her cheek. Suddenly, a sharp meow was heard from outside. "Black Wolf, don't run around." It was the prince. Panicked, I blew out the oil lamp and frantically spun around the room. Except for the ropes hanging from the ceiling, all four walls were empty, with no place to hide. I placed the oil lamp under the skirt of one of the bodies, then stood under an empty rope, draping it around my neck like the others had. Just as I finished arranging everything, the prince entered the room. I breathed heavily, my heart pounding. The prince turned on the crystal chandelier, flooding the room with blinding light. Instinctively, I closed my eyes. "Black Wolf, what's gotten into you today?" The prince held the black cat in his arms, and the cat arched its back, fur bristling, continuously howling in my direction. The prince reached out to stroke its back. "Want another piece of art, don't you? Be patient a bit longer." Chapter 13. Walking among the rows of bodies, the prince occasionally stopped to admire his trophies. What are women thinking, true love? Huh, why are they always so amusing? Look at number 16, Black Wolf, do you remember what she said before she died? She asked me if I truly loved her. Ha ha ha, it's the funniest joke I've ever heard, foolish ignorant women. The prince burst into laughter, then pulled the body of Cinder closer, kissing her crimson lips. "Oh, my dear, of course, I love you." The prince fervently kissed the body, breathing heavily. I watched in horror, feeling nauseous and unsettled. Suddenly, a mechanical, icy voice echoed in the room. "Host, without Cinderella's true love's kiss, you will be trapped here forever." Wide-eyed, I curiously looked towards the direction of the voice. The black cat in the prince's arms crouched, its eerie emerald eyes staring at me. Why did it feel like the voice I heard earlier came from it? The prince suddenly stopped and forcefully hit his own head. "Shut up. What system, what true love mission, I don't want to hear it. Being trapped here forever doesn't matter to me. I love this game, I am the master of this world, and everyone must serve me. Get out of my head." The prince seemed to have gone mad, talking to the air, occasionally hitting his head against the bodies, then embracing them. Listening for a while, a bold guess formed in my mind. The prince was also a time traveler. He was bound by a system that required him to truly love Cinderella to complete the fairy tale mission. However, this prince was a sadist, he killed the first Cinderella. Instead of the world collapsing, a new Cinderella emerged, leading to the queen's statement of feeling someone dying and being reborn repeatedly. Except for the prince, everyone was an NPC, constantly respawning even after death until a new Cinderella appeared to help the prince complete his mission. So the Lord Chancellor died, and the Queen thought he was still alive, and those palace maids also felt that the Lord Chancellor was still around. However, there was one thing that didn't make sense. Why hadn't the Lord Chancellor respawned like the others? Standing on tiptoes, feeling increasingly strained, my muscles weakened, beginning to tremble uncontrollably. The prince was still raving nearby, and the black cat suddenly broke free from his arms, hissing sharply, leaping towards me. The black cat collided heavily with my chest. I screamed, unable to hold on any longer, falling backward. Chapter 14. The prince squatted, holding his head, looking at me in astonishment. His eyes shifted, then he suddenly smiled, standing up while drawing his sword. "Oh, mischievous Cinder, my number 39. Just like number 19, you won't listen to me, coming here for what? Want to play hide and seek with me?" The prince advanced step by step towards me. My heart raced, limbs weak, shuffling back with each step. The prince raised his sword. The crystal chandelier above suddenly extinguished. A dark figure rushed into the room, violently pushing the prince aside. "Who dares to intrude into my bedchamber?" The figure and the prince engaged in a scuffle. I lifted my skirt, rushed out of the room, and ran desperately outside. Tonight, there was no moon, not even stars. The dark clouds covered everything. I ran as fast as I could. The palace gates were wide open, a glimmer of hope in my eyes. Surprisingly, there was no one on guard tonight. Of course, it was a fairy tale, and besides the main characters, the details were vague and not so intricate. The prince caught up from behind. Lifting my skirt, I ran to the palace gates. The gleam of hope in my eyes turned into despair. I forgot, there was a moat at the palace gate. When I entered the palace, the guard lowered the drawbridge, and I rode in on a carriage from the drawbridge. Peeking out, I saw the turbulent river below, at least 10 meters above the ground. With this height and my inability to swim, there was no chance of survival if I jumped. The prince slowed his pace, playing with his sword, looking at me playfully. "Oh, my dear Cinder." Before he could finish, an arrow suddenly shot from afar, piercing deeply into my shoulder. The immense force sent my entire body flying, plunging into the river. The prince, furious, stomped on the riverbank. "Damn it, my number 39 specimen, damn it, who did this? Damn it." The ice-cold river water engulfed me, and I closed my eyes, feeling the life draining from my body bit by bit. Chapter 15. When I opened my eyes again, I was lying on a messy pile of straw. A bucket slammed down on my head, and my stepmother's deceitful face appeared in front of me. "Loafing around here early in the morning. You lowly thing, don't you dare eat until these clothes are washed." I knelt on the ground, using a rag to polish the teakwood floor. My stepmother and 2 stepsisters sat at the dining table, enjoying breakfast. The eldest sister, Anna, was filled with excitement. "Did you hear? Tonight, the prince will host a ball in the palace. All unmarried girls in the city can attend, regardless of whether they are commoners or nobles." The second sister frowned unhappily. "Why invite lowly commoners? The palace is really being tainted." Trembling, I raised my hand. "Mother, can I go too?" "Oh my, what did I just hear? The dirty, lowly Cinder wants to go to the palace. Do you actually think you can dance with the prince?" My stepmother screamed dramatically, while my stepsisters dropped their breakfast and rolled up their sleeves, approaching me. One tugged my hair, the other slapped me. "Do you think you're beautiful? Ugh, look in the mirror. You ungrateful wretch. Just be grateful for a meal, daring to dream of attending a ball." The 2 sisters beat me and pushed me into the cellar, locking the door. "Stay here tonight. You can imagine those dirty mice as the prince. They'll dance with you." The 3 of them laughed triumphantly and left. Sitting in the dark cellar, I said nothing. At 11 o'clock at night, the cellar door above opened, and a pair of hands reached out to me. It was a stranger, a middle-aged man, with a twirled mustache and wise eyes. "Come out, Cinder." I sincerely smiled. "Thank you, Lord Chancellor." Chapter 16. Yes, I didn't die. The arrow was shot by the Queen. After I fell into the water, the Lord Chancellor saved me downstream. It was all part of their plan. The Lord Chancellor is a bug in this game. After his death, he respawns, but strangely retains memories from before. The Queen has been part of this game from the beginning, unlike ordinary NPCs. She thinks, pondering why she repeats the same actions day after day. She witnessed the prince's brutal killings of various maids and guards, throwing their bodies into the moat. The prince was too cruel. Neither the Queen nor the Lord Chancellor liked him, so they planned to replace him. Bring in a normal person. Only then can we complete the true love mission and find true liberation. The Lord Chancellor brought me back home. My stepmother and stepsisters resumed their abusive ways as if they'd forgotten. The Queen announced the ball. Naturally, the prince thought I had respawned and would meet the new number 40 tonight. The Lord Chancellor prepared a gorgeous gown, an exquisite carriage, and sparkling glass slippers for me. As I entered the ballroom in the carriage, all eyes were on me. The prince was the first to invite me to dance. We embraced, waltzing under the crystal chandelier to the waltz music. The prince held me close, whispering in my ear. "Hello, my dear maiden, would you like to stroll in the garden with me?" Blushing, I nodded, letting the prince lead me by the hand towards the quiet darkness under the rose bushes. As agreed, the Lord Chancellor would ambush with soldiers here. After distracting the prince's attention, he would shoot him with an arrow. But as I waited and waited, the cool evening breeze rustled the bushes, but there was no other sound. The prince turned my face towards him. "What are you so distracted waiting for?" "My dear, number 39. Chapter 17. My shy expression froze on my face, my scalp tingling, feeling as if I was in an icy catacomb. The prince burst into laughter. "Let me guess, are you waiting for the Lord Chancellor? Or perhaps the Queen? Foolish girl, let me tell you a secret. When characters respawn, the system notifies me." The prince stiffly moved his head, mimicking a mechanical voice. "Host, please note, the Lord Chancellor has respawned, Cinderella Cinder has respawned." I didn't hear it this time. Isn't that strange? The prince laughed triumphantly. The Lord Chancellor and the Queen are both dead. Tomorrow, new versions of them will appear. Too bad, the smile of that Queen resembled my mother's. I've always hesitated to kill her. I said with a genuine smile, lifting my skirt to draw out a dagger and decisively plunging it into his throat. "Fool, let me share a secret with you too." I leaned close to the prince's ear. "I love playing this game." I removed the dagger, cutting open the prince's throat. He made a gurgling sound, his eyes filled with fear as he looked at me. "I love watching you so self-assured, thinking you have everything under control. This play is far more sophisticated than your advanced one, isn't it?" The prince collapsed on the ground, eyes wide open, blood pooling around him. I lifted his body, carrying it from the garden to the prince's chamber. All passing maids and guards lowered their heads in fear. I took out the key from my pocket, opened the first room on the left, and entered. I placed the prince's body on the ground, wiping his throat and cheeks with a soft towel. I removed his clothes, dressed him in an oversized gorgeous gown, and put a wig on him. I carefully applied makeup to the prince's face, everything prepared meticulously. He had become my likeness. I was very pleased. "My dear number 39 prince, you're lovelier than those before." I hoisted the prince onto a rope, leaned in to kiss his lips. The black cat crouched at my feet, its eyes filled with terror. What the hell kind of bad luck did I run into? Getting a host like this maniac. I glared fiercely, gripping the black cat's neck, then gently stroking its back. "What did you just say, Cough cough, report to the host, number 40 prince has respawned." I smiled, holding the black cat close. "Well, this time, what kind of story should we weave for this prince to make it more interesting?" Epilogue. On the first day dressed as Cinderella, my black cat suddenly spoke. It informed me it was a system. If the prince and I truly loved each other, I could complete the mission and return to my original world. The prince was handsome, and as described in fairy tales, we had a grand wedding and lived happily ever after. However, after 2 months, I hadn't completed the mission. Every morning I woke up, I still lay on that luxurious golden bed. I was puzzled. Until I saw the prince leading a maid, cautiously opening the first room on the left. I walked to the door, and soon, muffled moans of pleasure emanated from inside. "Darling, you're much more interesting than the queen. I'll make your father an earl." I gripped the door handle, frozen in place, as the black cat sat on my shoulder, licking its paws anxiously. "Host, we need to find a way to win back his heart." The door swung open, and the prince and the maid emerged hand in hand, disheveled. Upon seeing me at the door, the prince was taken aback, but quickly regained his composure, wearing an indifferent expression. "Which nobleman doesn't have a mistress? Cinder, go back to your room." I approached, drew the prince's sword, and plunged it into his chest. Blood sprayed on my face, the maid screamed loudly beside me. I laughed, dropped the sword, and went to pick up the black cat. "See, when men misbehave, you just replace them." Soon, I killed one prince after another. Those dressed as princes were ordinary people from my world, men who couldn't stand out in a crowd, suddenly becoming princes of a country. With all the women in the city at your disposal, who could focus on loving just one woman? The legendary true love, it's just a legend. But isn't this game, where I seek not love but thrill and excitement, more enjoyable and exhilarating?